Alrighty, hello every folks and good morning. Welcome to a discussion on speedrunning the Unicorn Overlord demo. So, this thing has been incredibly fun in terms of giving you only a little bit of time to actually go explore everything. But you might potentially be wondering how on earth it is that people are getting, well, frankly, seemingly all the content in this entire continent within that 5 hour period. How are people possibly speedrunning this thing so dang fast that they managed to actually have time left over by the time that they finished every fight in here? Well, that's because this game is going and properly teaching you how to speedily handle things, but not only. Not only can you handle fights quickly, there's actually a lot of tech to a lot of this other stuff as well. So first and foremost, we're going to start by making things a little bit simpler. You may notice that we have that timer down there on the bottom right. This is starting right as the demo starts. So as soon as you're out of the introduction, it starts counting down from 5 hours. So first thing I want to mention is that we're going to be doing this on expert, obviously, but when we go look through the rest of this, as far as your auto advance time, set this to nothing so that you're not wasting any time in between cutscenes. Enable fast forwarding cutscenes for those situations that you can't skip, and additionally go down here and set auto run on. For those that didn't know, you can hold down circle or B by default to run around. This is just going to set it permanent, but it allows you to move around twice as fast. Now that's obviously one thing. For another thing, auto pause at the start of every map. So we're going to go ahead and get that thing going right away. Another thing to mention, pay attention to the stuff that you're picking up. So go to the store immediately, buy yourself an empowering draught and a defensive draught. So I'm going to show you a quick little startup thing right at the very beginning of the game here to potentially get you steamrolling really darn quick. So technically, bear in mind this is losing some time right now, you want to always be running around. Technically, I would recommend going over that bridge and quickly handling your archer fight first for most folks. If you're feeling confident, however, you potentially can have a far faster time going this way. So you go up north, and anytime you see a shiny, realistically, you should go ahead and pick that up. So, anyways, so we don't need suggestions there, Joseph. We know what we're doing. Ideally, anytime you see a shiny, just go ahead and pick it up and run. You don't have to wait for things to be collected. You can just run away and you'll get them just fine. Most items, you'll just end up automatically have gravitating towards you. So they'll give you 2 warnings whether or not you want to take this fight, but we're going to want to go ahead and take it. So we get the warning, we get to deploy, and then we get started. So this is going to be wizards and housecarls for the most part. And this is going to be a team that's going to be vastly higher level than you, as well as coming in with a lot of advantages. That's actually why we set up that Joseph squad earlier. So here's how we're handling this. Under normal circumstances, these guys would have absolutely no shot whatsoever. But we don't take fair fights around here. So, first things first, we're going to go ahead and deploy. We're going to get Joseph's unit. We're going to get him over here. Second of all, we're going to go ahead and deploy our 2 defensive squads. So we're going to have Lex's unit up here. It doesn't have to be these particular guys. It's just everybody else with Chloe on her own. This will become relevant as a bit of a backup plan. So we're making use of a lot of abilities. When it comes to Joseph, he has the ability to resist magic towers. Just basically all magic assist attacks very well, and that is going to absolutely shred your units in this place. So what we want to do is we want to have him go ahead and charge on through so that we can get into position. Now the thing is, cavalry has 5 stamina, your infantry has 6, your flyers have 4. So we don't have a whole lot of stamina to carve away through. He can technically beat everything on this map in a 1v1, but we don't want that situation to happen. So we actually have a couple of little backup plans that we're working on here. So ideally, our plan is actually just to have him go through the woods here, go ahead and take this watchtower through one means or another. And then, and hopefully, with the way that the units are wandering around, hopefully they will stay out of your way, and you don't have to worry about losing anyone. But it is very possible that you'll simply end up getting too tired out by the time you get to this bridge. So in this case, we are getting into one of those positions where we are currently getting way too tired, so we can take this tower, but we just have barely enough stamina to take this bridge. This is actually kind of the ideal scenario here. So we just barely made it. If you get one more fight along the way, then you're in trouble. But we go ahead and go here. We take next to no damage from those magic supports, and frankly, for all the rest of the stuff, we don't have to worry. These guys won't be doing very much. However, these guys will consistently be casting a fire plume over here on this on this bridge. However, this team can take it. The thing is, right now, we want to get up to 2 points. As it stands right now, while he can win the rest of these fights, he can't do it alone just yet. There's a couple of ways for him to get points. We actually can go ahead and undeploy one of these units right here if we want to. So given that we're in an ideal scenario, we're actually going to go ahead and withdraw her. And additionally, since we don't want to rest, we're actually going to go ahead and use one of the abilities here. To vitalize this party to go and give them a few extra points. So now that gives them 2 extra stamina, that's why we had him there. So the House Carl will be useful for that particular thing. So we're going to keep this party over here on our home base to try and dissuade additional units from coming that way. But the reason that we have Chloe off by herself is as a backup plan. So if this doesn't go well, because this is basically Joseph carrying this team, if this doesn't go well and these guys don't get their training up, we are stuck in a situation where he might potentially be too tired to get through, and or somebody might die. He wants all of these party members here so that he can make use of them to actually beat the boss at the end. So essentially the reason that Chloe was put off by herself is to sneak herself onto this tower so that she can then long-range revive if needed. In this case, that didn't end up being necessary because they didn't get any lucky hits or anything like that. So those House Carls are going to go ahead and go over that way. These guys are going to hit him with Blaze. It's going to do next to nothing. His team will be perfectly fine. They'll just be able to out-heal that damage. It's not a problem. So in this case, we run into the reason that we picked up those items earlier. So we pick up an Empowering Draught, and that's going to go ahead and give us a bit of an advantage here, and going to allow us to go ahead and win this encounter right here. So that'll kill off these guys, and this is actually one of those tricks that you need to start paying attention to in order to speedrun this thing. It's actually one of the old rules for Ogre Battle there as well, that with a lot of these parties, especially the ones that are just running the same kind of unit, it really only takes the death of one of them to actually make you start just immediately tipping stuff over. So this is actually going to be the next detail I forgot to mention up to this point. So if we go over here, we go over to Joseph's Slice, switch this over to highest HP. The thing is, a lot of times when we get to this point where the entire team can start doing their thing, we're going to start running into situations where he's wasting his attacks finishing somebody off. So if he prioritizes somebody at higher health, he's going to get better efficiency out of his engagements. Additionally, with Elaine there, he's going to be healing with his attacks, which means that we probably want to actually use him for finishing stuff off instead. He is going to be healing a little bit less, but generally he's going to be the weaker of the two, so we might as well get a little bit of better efficiency there, and it again causes him to heal more often, so there's that. So now these guys are going to be doing just fine. There's one party in particular that we're actually kind of going to have a little bit of an issue with down the line, because one of them comes with a guardsman out front and comes with some axes in the back. Now, the reason that this is an issue is just because some of their attacks are getting defended. Now, that's actually the other reason that we brought Aubin along. See, the original version of the strategy involved bringing Chloe. And in Chloe's case, she's there to provide additional healing, but these guys are already perfectly fine as far as healing goes. Actually, one of the other kind of reason that I was going and bringing it along initially is because a lot of these caster type of teams typically also will have a caster right behind somebody. So you have the spear stab, and also I was trying to see if you could speedrun having Elaine cheat on his girlfriend before she's actually rescued. It turns out it's not actually possible in the demo. You can max out their relationship. It's actually surprisingly easy to do, but you can't quite get it all the way done. Anyway, so in this case, we did end up taking a loss from Aubin there, so we're just going to go ahead and heal him up real quick. But we are in a good enough position now to go ahead and take this tower. So, because of the fact that we didn't take that bottom tower, they haven't panicked as much as far as sending additional units out. So they actually will send waves of units for every time that you take a tower. Now, this one in particular we want to take because while it isn't much damage that we're taking from it, it is enough to chip down this relatively newbie team. So, what we want is for these guys to go ahead and hide in this tower. I'm going to mix up the controls because I'm suddenly switching between Switch and PS4 here. Anyway. So we want some additional points. So they're going to go ahead and take that one. And as you can see, they've stopped sending people towards our base. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and withdraw these guys. And we're additionally going to go over here and we're going to go ahead and use that Vitalize ability. So we're going to go ahead and use Vitalize, and we're going to go ahead and give them 2 additional points so that they can go and charge in and take the capital. I say the capital, you know what I mean. Anyway, so there's no support for them at this point. Yes, yes, go ahead and skip. So at this point, what this ends up giving you... Sorry, controls are being a little weird there. The reason that you'd actually end up doing this, the reason that you would want to do this whatsoever, is because it's a very quick and consistent way, generally speaking, to actually be able to get access to a magic support way earlier than you normally would. Because normally your first magic support would be over in the swamp when you get Yarna. Sorry for the throat clearing. Winter's gonna winter. Anyway, so in this case, you can get access to Osh right away, or if you want to go the other way, you can actually pick up an early Lapis from sacrificing Osh instead. Now in this case, we're going to go over to our items, and we're going to go ahead and use our treatises to go improve our dude here in order to give him a little bit more goodness. And additionally, we'll go ahead and use a defensive draught to take away 20% of their offense. So with this being said, now we can go ahead and win the first engagement. It's going to give us another level there, and additionally we're then going to go in for another follow-up and then finish it. So, as I said before, oftentimes all it takes is to tip one unit to see everything completely shift in your favor, and in this case we tipped over their spearmen, which allowed us full access to their squishy back line, and there we go, we get access to a staff, we get access to our first caster, as well as making magic support squads right away. So, yada yada yada, these guys are going to do their thing. I would recommend keeping your magic supports as well. Obviously, to be support squads, all they have to be infantry, but keeping them with other infantry just to make sure that they have as much stamina as possible. But anyways, we're just gonna go ahead and get this friggin' tryhard right here and put him in our team. Gonna go ahead and skip saving progress for the moment. It doesn't really affect anything timing wise. Skip that part to save a little bit more time. And there we go. We get our honors, we get our renown, yada yada. And now we can go ahead and pick up more items. So we get wizards. Again, we're not going to bother going into our menu right now, but we get some items here, we get some items here. And again, when you're first running through or taking new fights or what have you, remember that you can do that. Additionally, when it comes to juking around some of these other units here, remember that you do have access to your other squads while you're in this menu. And in many cases... since you are just kind of going by percentages more than numbers in a lot of cases, you can find yourself in a position where you can actually get away with getting by in a lot of these higher level areas simply by means of only technically winning the fight. You don't have to eliminate these guys, and also most of the time they're going to run directly forward, so you can get yourself a lot of upgrades early on. And if you get access to an archer team, this will allow you to get their support as well. Also, don't take this fight until way the hell later. Honestly, this one's kind of bizarrely difficult as far as how it is, just due to specific quirks that come out of that fight. Let's just say that they use a lot of abilities very quickly. It's a very short fight that you got to beat in very short order. But the good thing about doing it this way, where you're just kind of running around and kind of collecting items and what have you, as well as going and inspecting things, is that it basically allows you to be able to fast travel to any of these locations afterward. So we're just going around, we're just collecting whatever items we can, whatever shards or whatever else we can. I don't think we're going to run into what's-her-face out here. Again, remember, just try to juke around these guys as much as you can. If you were thinking I memorized these maps, I did not. I'm just kind of vaguely looking for different materials. And then once you get to certain points, you get access to new missions. Those missions are just free for you to go back whenever, and then you can go back with more people once you have the right tools on hand. In this case, I think we're pretty well just kind of screwed versus this Radiant Knight team, so we're just going to go ahead and get ourselves sent back. Yes, thank you, Joseph. Okay, so one thing to actually mention is, well, actually, I guess it'll be its own video, that technically if you speedrun everything hard enough, you can get access to customization items. Anyway, we're not going to be doing that this exact second. These guys are also going to get run over again because I went in the wrong direction. Man, my throat is bugging me something fierce today. If it isn't interruptions, it's that. Anyway, so at this point, I would recommend going and picking up your second support. So we're actually going to go ahead and nope, don't do that. Use the weird touchscreen button to then go back in this direction. So we're going to go ahead and travel over to this direction. And we now can go ahead and win this fight right here. So the other thing that... here, Let's go down this direction. Go ahead and replace you with Osh. We're going to go ahead and replace Lex with what's his face, Travis. And let's go ahead and leave you as the commander, which will give us some magic support, which will help us out here. Alright, skip through this. But yeah, so that's, generally speaking, this is kind of how speedrunning this whole thing goes, that you're not really worrying about picking up specific things, but once you have everything, you just go into a town, you kind of dump all of your resources into that town with the square button, collect whatever you can, go to the relevant island, go collect all the stuff on said island. So, there we go. We'll go ahead and skip all this. Yes. Alright. Skip through this yet again, and we'll go ahead and deploy our ace squad over this way. Immediately order them to go take this town. They're going to have a little bit of difficulty from the archer squads, so we'll go ahead and send Osh. So we're going to go this way. We're going to leave the pike to probably go defend. Actually, in this case, we're actually going to send Joseph to go talk first. So go ahead and do the chatter, because they're going to try to go after our city in a moment. As always, skip these with the start and/or plus button, whatever's relevant to you. But yeah, thieves are going to be good at dodging everything except for arrows and magic, so make that a thing. However, you can overwhelm them. I mean, when it comes to magic stuff, they can't dodge everything, is the thing. If you got magic supports, they will help out quite a bit, because they don't have a whole lot of health, and, you know, magic support's going to magic support. So, yes, thank you, tutorials. Remember to mash. Mashing is important. Okay. We actually might as well just take this town first, while he's right here. Let's see. Yeah, probably just win some of these fights directly. Just to make sure that they're not taking our HQ, because I want to save some of those points for a bit later. Man. Got some toys out for the bigger of our dogs, and every now and then they just will drop something that makes the loudest friggin' noise. Anyway, so we'll just go ahead and take this town. Get some stamina back. So if you ever need to get some quick stamina back for your ace squads, just remember taking a town usually will give you additional stamina. So it's just generally a good policy. Alright, so we get our range support slowly trotting over this way. There's only a few more fights that they need to participate in, so I'm not too worried about their stamina here. Alright, so let's see. You're done there. Should be these guys sorted. Alright. And then we got our magic squad. They're going to pop over here to do support type stuff. Normally what you'd want to do is to get your cavalry over to take that archer squad, just to make sure that their support's out of the way. We're going to go ahead and skip that little step right now, because these guys should be overpowered enough, courtesy of their previous fight, to just kind of make it happen. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and charge in there. Actually, we might as well just send these guys back. Maybe not. We can technically send them back to get additional points, and then once we have those additional points, that will then give us some additional goodness. Also, if you ever need to select everybody, remember that you can just hold down your selection button, select everybody at once, circle around them, and then just kind of go for it. It feels very like if you ever played Command and Conquer on a PSP, it feels very similar to that, or PS1, I guess. But yeah, the PSP version is there, and so now we'll just go ahead and put our Valor skill here. So Valor's Order gives you first strike, which means that you can absolutely cleave through stuff. So we'll just go ahead and take our... Actually, why don't we go ahead and cancel your movement for just a second while our supports arrive, because we only get this for one attack. Alright, get in range, y'all. Come on. What is taking y'all so long? Okay. So, quick little pause. You stop moving so that you can attack. You also stop moving so that you can attack. And you go ahead and attack with everything now. Alright. Actually, I think they already had the support. I just didn't realize that they were slightly farther away. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and get that attack off on there. These guys are technically countered by this unit, but there's just so many attacks going on that it doesn't really matter. So we'll just go ahead and just watch the battle play out just so we can see how it happens, as to why they occasionally will miss. This is technically a bit of a lost time. Also, I love how they're like, oh, would you like to spare this guy? And it's like, no, this guy looks like a complete freaking lunatic. Why would we ever want to spare him? Anyway. Yes, it needs an update. I gotcha. So anyways, yeah, he'll just go ahead and dodge away all of this. Not really anything too crazy to talk about. But any of our other units will be able to go get a little bit of scratch damage in. You can just go ahead and wrap it up. And that gets us our range support. So with Rolf on the team, his edgy ass is going to be able to now give us range support as well as magic support wherever we happen to go. We get the Viper Fang. Would recommend actually putting that on Joseph at the very start. The reason for this is because sometimes stuff will barely survive, especially the tanky units that you start running into after this, like the Gladiators and such, on your way going down south. If you give him the Viper Fang, he actually will have a far easier time finishing his stuff off. Otherwise, pair him up with Lex. Personally, what I would recommend at this point, if you can spare it, is to just go immediately kind of make a lane overpowered. So we're going to go ahead and skip this. So at this point, what I would recommend... What's funny... This decision is hilarious to me because they're like, hand them to the town watch. They're dead, though. We just saw them die. Okay, so we're going to hand them to whatever was there for the town watch, and we're going to go ahead and skip all this. We get a recruit's shortbow. Go ahead and give that shortbow to your preferred archer, which obviously should be Rolf at this point. Oh, come on. Yes, we get it. We get it. Obviously, if you have preferred team comps, this would be the time to go get some additional recruits and things. But anyway, yes, Joseph, I get it. There's birds. We're doing stuff. We got places to be, man. Time's a ticking. We gotta move. Enough talking. We gotta hustle, soldier. Okay, so. Next order of business, we're actually going to go over here and we're going to make a lane super overpowered. Now, the reason I choose him for this is just because of the fact that he's typically paired with Joseph in this particular setup. But basically, the runic sword is basically absolutely... I saw some folks mentioning, like, oh, you can get the super powerful, like, crazy king sword or whatever else, right? Here's the thing. That takes a whole long-ass side quest. In this case, you basically just go, you buy the rune sword from the shop, you give it to this guy, and now he is... just absolutely cracked. So that's kind of about that. Additionally, if you want to, again, just get some more poisony type of stuff going, if you're using Lex anywhere, which I guess we'll bother, then you can go ahead and throw him here, throw him behind Chloe. They actually are a pretty decent pair as far as units go. He defends mostly. She goes and does other stuff. However, what we actually want is... Do we have the other thing yet? We do not have the other thing yet. Okay, we're going to get some other accessories. Anyway, we gotta frickin' run. Now, the reason that this magic sword is overpowered, and as far as I'm concerned, it's the best sword in the demo, sure, the other thing might have 25 attack, but you know what this thing frickin' has? Magic attack. So you don't need a caster to go give you that benefit. You can just immediately go hit as if your sword was enchanted the entire time. Which means that, you can just delete your enemies. So, as far as fights like this go, where there's, potentially a lot of... go ahead and go on. Potentially a lot of fairly tanky units and whatnot. You can absolutely curb stomp this thing. So we go ahead and start the stage. We've got Gladiators, we've got Housecarls. Those are going to be units that are not particularly good versus casters. Granted, the Gladiators are really absurdly tanky. So if you want to see near unreasonable amounts of bulk, just like Phalanx plus Gladiator. Anyway. So we send out Joseph's squad. They are going to be able to basically hard counter everything until the end of this fight. We're going to go ahead and send them out, and we're going to go ahead and send... we're going to leave Chloe's unit as is. However, we are going to... We're right, we don't have the hammer guy yet. Once you have hammers, by the way, this might seem a little bit of a weird thing to actually point out. Once you have hammers, it's actually worth going and starting off fights with those sometimes, because they will push enemies backwards. But for the time being, we're going to go ahead and do something like this. These guys need to be focusing on taking this town. There we go. Gonna get our fast forward going. We don't need our magic assist yet. They're just kind of vaguely going to be sticking around. Remember that you do have to have that particular unit available as a commander in order to get your assistances going. And also, in cases like this, where you stick a thief up front, they can very effectively tank for your caster, so that's going to help out a lot in cases like this, where we've got a lot of dedicated frontal attackers. Anyway, we're going to have you go over this way. We're going to have you go over this way. If you would like to maybe proceed over in this direction. Yeah, that's not looking like a particularly good engagement, but they're not going to leave that bridge, so we're just going to park you over in that direction. Once we take that second town, we can go ahead and assign a archer squad to go deal with some stuff. So that'll give us a bit more play here, just to show how good this magic sword is real quick. So it will automatically, that magic attack will automatically cause him to prioritize heavy armor enemies. So he basically is as strong, if not situationally stronger than Joseph is at this point. That being said, you also can, if you find any priority accessories up to this point, throw those on Aubin to allow for some defense breaks. Anyway, these guys can just completely annihilate things. Like, Aubin is probably my favorite back row, just kind of assist, as far as these kinds of teams go, just because he gets the additional attack on the back, he gets the potential priority opener move. They're just kind of a fantastic jack of all trades. Anyway, we're going to take this harbor real quick. We're going to get our stamina bonus. And then we're going to go ahead and take on the Pegasi. Once you get the Pegasus, what I would recommend is actually saving up your points to be able to upgrade to a 4-person squad and replacing these guys' commander with a Pegasus if possible. And we'll then go ahead and alter Chloe's unit real quick here. So we're going to go ahead and replace you with Rolf for the moment. And they are going to go ahead and assist with... they're going to go ahead and assist with the Pegasus. So, let's go ahead and move you over this direction. They're just going to go kind of around here. So, really, our cavalry is the main one that needs to get the job done, but the others are going to be there for support. So, we're going to go ahead and do that. Fast forward a little bit. If you see anything on screen, by the way, as far as just things popping up that look like why are there circles and squares and things like this, that would be the Vita controls. So the PlayStation Vita can connect to a PS4, which allows it to play this game, and I wish it would have come out on the Vita. It's kind of funny because every other Vanillaware game is also playable on a Vita, whether through remote play or like this. We might lose our magic support right here. Actually, wait a minute. They're all spearmen. If we use a revival on you, and then we go ahead and resort the party a little bit, I wonder if we can't just... yeah, if we do this... that should help out a little bit, and in fact, if we use one more healing item, that might be enough to get the job done, and in fact, why don't we just give you a free level while we're at it? There we go, and that would suddenly turn that into a win. It really doesn't take much. Again, as soon as you find that one tipping point, that one little piece to go push over, that's when stuff gets a little bit wacky for you, you know? And so, one thing to mention with these assists, they're very handy, but they're also going to be something that will be extremely stamina intensive, so just kind of bear that in mind. Okay, yes, skip all that. He says he's up, he is not up. I mean, he might be partially up if he's within range. There we go, he does a little bit more. Archers will do extra damage versus wings, as you'd kind of expect. If we want to give them a little bit of extra experience, maybe they can wrap the squad. Nope, they cannot. Fine. You go deal with it then. Let's give him a little bit of additional experience if we can. Alright, we're going to save our assists for the moment, because they won't have time to rest. So the thing is, when you're going and doing this kind of spearhead strategy, it's tempting to try and immediately rely on just using all your firepower at once, but you want to try to conserve that as much as possible. So if you can use them in situations like right here, like we're going to set up a range support and a magic support, and prioritize magic support so that they don't burn through stamina when they're going and attacking there. We know that we're going to get additional stamina over on his unit, so we should be okay in that regard. So we're going to have him ride out over here, just very slightly. So they should be able to crush it, hopefully without help, but if they need help, it's basically free here. So the help is going to be free in situations like this, and if they ever do give you free help, it will be triggered by default as far as I can tell. So this does mean that you can potentially use a lot of your assists more often, allowing you to carve through fights a lot more. So basically, using stuff like this, you can completely ignore that levels exist. Now, I mentioned earlier that we'd be getting more points. Again, we make use of Vitalize over here to give them a bit more juice. We are going to run over and take that town in a moment, but we got one more Gladiator squad coming up, and we also need to be able to take a few other fights as well. So, first of all, these Gladiators, can they be taken by the two helpers here? We're a little bit too far away to pull that off right now. And we aren't going to have enough stamina to be able to take the tower as well. But I am confident that these rookies will be able to handle this one fighter squad that's coming up. So we're just going to go ahead and waypoint our way through the woods. So normally the roads will be prioritized because you run faster on them. So whenever you're going and taking movements like this, you will have those cases that you'll be wondering like how it is that you can take shortcuts and things. You have to manually set those shortcuts. A little bit more information on this. I know we're dumping a whole lot on there at one time. But a little bit more on the shortcuts is that you actually will move a little bit slower when going through forests. And additionally, if you ever find yourself in a position that you need to rest, like you have a fast-moving unit that's tired, they're having issues, they need a little bit of a break, they need to hide, what you want to do is actually park them into a forest. So see if there's any deep forests around, run them in there, have them take a rest, as long as it doesn't cause any defensive issues for you. And you can have them take a rest because they will be in stealth mode while they're in that forest. So just something for you to consider. All right, we'll go ahead and skip through that fight. I used 2 of the smoke knots on them there because they needed 2 more attacks and they still needed 1 stamina to be able to take that location, which will then give them additional stamina. Yes, this wasn't exactly worth it in the long run. I probably should have just skipped it this time, but it's fine. It happens sometimes. You don't have absolute control over everything, but you do get most of the information, so you can mostly get this stuff done pretty consistently. So we'll get our stamina bonus there. We'll see about getting some of our other squads deployed here. In fact, I think we're going to go ahead and move Rolf's squad up here a little bit, see if we maybe need to swap them. I may have to sacrifice the mage squad here real quick, just because of how close they're getting. So let's see, if we use this, if we get a ranged assist, that's actually going to be a very consistent win there. Their thief went down, so we're actually going to send them over to the city to recover. Actually, no we won't, because instead we're going to... No, that's the bridge, right? They don't get a rest point over there. Okay. In that case, Osh, go ahead and head over here. We're going to have Dude Guy take 1 little rest before he runs out and goes to conquer. Just because he's already mostly healed. So this is getting a little bit risky. They're going to take a little bit of damage, but these guys don't take much damage. Will they be able to survive this one? Yes, actually, they're going to be able to pull this off pretty well. If your squads are mostly damaged and you're in a position like this where you can take advantage to finish off a squad, just take the opportunity. In that particular case, again, the dead units are still getting experience, they're still getting training, and while they will be left high and dry after this fight, we will generally get better results for taking this fight this way, I feel. So that'll take these guys out and give them a bit more experience. We'll have a ranged squad move up and take that bridge. And then during that time, we can actually go ahead and... it's a little risky. Okay, we're going to send our cavalry in first. So cavalry's almost healed. We're going to have them move over this way. They're going to attempt to use Vitalize once they have the opportunity. So these guys over here are still generating points for their side. They actually do seem to have a point economy that we have to pay attention to. But the nice thing about having Aubin in your backfield here is that it does allow you to potentially generate stamina wherever you are as long as you're getting kills. Oops. I forgot to turn off yet another alarm. Anyway, so we are almost up to 2 points. Once we get up to 2 points, that allows us to hand over some free stamina to these guys. We can now move our archer squad over this way. We'll go ahead and take a few attacks from these guys, though realistically we'll want to push forward here. So let's say we're pushing forward in this direction. We see that we're going to kind of suffer a little bit. We do want to have both support squads, ideally. So we're going to have Archies go over this way. We might as well just have these guys rest. Whatever. So they're just going to rest up. As soon as they're ready to go, they'll be ready to go. And then, yeah, we'll get it all done. Probably have the archers rest up a little bit. We can just kind of sit here, chill on the bridge. We're less than halfway done with our time, so we're doing great. We're gonna do fine enough. Like, it's funny how after enough times you kind of just get to the point where it's like, do you actually even want to spend the points to go rest, or do you want to you just start being afraid of rest, or do you want to go do it this way? Anyway, our casting support is currently down, so I think what we're actually gonna do is spend our point here, since we're not necessarily going to be building up too much. I'm thinking we actually go ahead and make you the leader. So we're going to go ahead and not that button. Yes, change you to the leader, which will then allow for going over here. Let's see. If you hit that tower, you die. But they can go over to the fort and start recovering. If they recover, great. If not, oh well. They'll be able to get over there a little bit faster. We shouldn't need any more of our Valor points going forward here. Ranged assistance, again, we're just going to wait for the moment. Should probably let them rest up somewhat, just in case we need to use them. So if Joseph's squad ends up getting tired out while doing this attack, we're going to want these guys to be able to kind of tag in to help assist. So they're a few seconds out from getting better. These guys are about to get fully restored as long as this doesn't kill them. The nice thing is, while they will continuously waste their points on arrow rain, they will still be wasting their points. So actually, if we have somebody over here, we potentially don't have to worry about any other abilities. It's maybe worth considering, but either way, we'll let one more attack happen here. They're going to get shot down right here. And away they go, and we'll then go send you over in this direction. We'll get our range support going in as well. Looks like we'll be getting a decent engagement there. Alright. And off they march. Alright, is our range support within range? Yes. Nice talking for a dead guy. Anyway, we get a range support in there. We're actually going to take a bit more damage on account of that range support, which isn't ideal, but we also did more in the meantime. I forget if I mentioned this yet, but when fights are happening, whenever you see those situations that it looks like they're taking more damage for the fact that you put an assist in, this is basically the fact that you're re-rolling the scenario more or less. So think of it as your unit's basically telling you, hey, I have a good angle on this guy, I don't have a good angle on this guy. It's essentially just kind of re-rolling the scenario that if you add more, it's also re-rolling like hit chances, how much damage somebody did, all of that kind of thing. So somebody might guard, somebody might not guard. The entire situation will be different, but it allows you to kind of do a version of the chess rule from Tactics Ogre PSP. I know, oddly specific callback there, but like specifically in that one, there were situations where if you didn't end your turn, you could kind of redo the rolls, because the game had a lot of really weird kind of chance type of things, and it was kind of satisfying to redo the rolls. But if you specifically only did it during your current turn, it didn't actually count against you. However, if you try to reset a turn any longer than that, it would say that you were cheating. So, in that particular case, it just kind of led to this kind of fun little mechanic where you would go and reset stuff. Anyway. Alright, so we get a recruit sword, we get a light feather, which allows you to move faster, and what's nice is that you get that light feather at the same time that you get your Pegasi. Yes. Okay, so we'll now go ahead and collect even more materials, even more towns, and then we'll later be going back to those other towns. Just so you know, if there's any particular character that you want to have, Elaine having an interest in down the road, you can also do a thing where in any place that you rescue, you can just go in and you can go in and give them a oh, there's another one of those tablets. What am I forgetting here? Sorry, you put them as a guard in a location, and you can just force feed them as many items as you'd like. So you can go and max out their affinity with somebody if that's what you want to go for, or their rapport rather. So let's go ahead and do this. Actually, while we're here, let's go ahead and talk about boats real quick, because I kind of just skipped over that part. So if we go over to the boats, right? We go over here, we go to the deliveries. You hit square, you get all your deliveries done. Does its thing. You want to do them all at one time so that it's not wasting time on the menus. And we now have boat. And now that we have boat, we can also go ahead and go to the provisioner. We can go ahead and buy flowers. So we'll just go ahead and buy some flowers. We'll go ahead and pick up another empowering draught, as well as another so smoke nuts, revival orbs, healing fonts, all of these kinds of things. Pretty much if you're buying every couple of fights, if you're buying out all those items, you'll typically have enough money to still get the customization item towards the end of the demo. So like in this case, when I'm going and buying out, oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. When I'm going and buying out those items, you only need 30k by the end of the demo to be able to buy the customization item. So in this particular case, what we end up doing is we get those items to make fights happen faster. Once those fights are happening faster, we can then go ahead and, well, not have to worry about spending additional items on heals or things like that, as long as we just kind of handle it all through hyper-aggression, as it were. And so this is just kind of how you do it. So we'll get a Hallowed Cornash over here. Those allow you to technically restart fights after the timer's ended, though personally I will say, especially if you're playing on Expert, those 2 points are potentially far more valuable. You can also spend them for 2 points in the middle of a fight, rather than using them to reset a map. Resetting just kind of keeps the thing going. It might, like, it's fine as far as that goes. And I'm sure there's going to be some cases where you maybe have to rely on those, but so far I have not seen a single map that you can't just win through other means. So, anyway, just something to consider. Alright, so like, let's say right over here, let's say we wanted to get Lane's whole thing here going with Chloe, right? Oh, yep. All well and good. So, we go over to Chloe here, and we go ahead and station them, and they will go ahead and show up out front. Yes, thank you, tutorials. And we'll go over to her. We'll go ahead and give her a gift. It's a little bit weird in this particular section, but basically you just give them as many items as you'd like. And while it does say it's for items they specifically like, there's a lot of items that just seem to give you gigantic dumps of rapport. To the point where I gave somebody just the entire pile of everything that was in here, and they seem to just be fine with it. So I'm not sure how their preferences work exactly. I don't think that lady likes flowers. But either way, they ended up getting just like flans and cakes and I think caviar or something. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. You know, funnily enough, now that I think about it, speaking of food, I have gone through this demo multiple times now. I don't think I've ever actually fed anybody dinner yet. I don't think I've actually seen a meal mechanic. But yeah, using stuff like this, this allows you to, like, if we wanted to go take that fight right there, right now, we could. If we continue going down this way, though, we'll have access to Pegasi. So if we go over to, let's go over to this. If we go over to our Pegasi over here, we'll get another fort over in this, in this direction. Yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend playing this on a Vita. It's just fun that you technically can. So, like, if we go over here, we go ahead and hire. Let's go ahead and pick up a Griffin Knight. So, sure. Apparently their name's Chantal. They look red and awesome and crimson and everything. That looks pretty freaking cool. We'll just go ahead and hire them as is. And we got 37 for honors. We would need 50 as well as rank C to upgrade to 4 people, so what we would do is we're probably going to go ahead and replace Joseph at this point with Chantal. I feel like this generally does a pretty solid job, but let's go ahead and go over our items here as well. I don't think we have any recruit stuff that we've picked up yet. Let's see. So burn immunity, blindness immunity, does that really help us much here? I mean, it does give some magic defense, I suppose. But we're going to go ahead and give her Chloe's Charm for additional experience to start off with. If you've picked up the Brown Beret, which you should have by this point, this allows you to get additional damage, and then you just go over here and go over to either lowest HP or back row. Typically will give you the biggest returns. So just kind of allows them to clean up, as it were, and then they take their wing rest at the very end. Now, the thing is, just so you know, while this works in a general sense, there's going to be cases where you're going to have a much harder time getting those guys to work whatsoever versus shamans down the line. Like, shamans seem too hard to counter flyers. That's one of those reasons that fight I mentioned earlier is so much of a problem. Let's see, this fight's fairly easy, but we're going to skip it for the moment. There's a lot of fights that you can skip to make the earlier ones a little bit faster. So, like, there we go. There's the Yarna fight. So we're going to get our cat. Now, the thing is, what you can do with this fight is just kind of handle it pretty darn easily at this point. So we've got our supports, we've got this, we're going to go ahead and start the stage. And from here, I actually got to get going, so I'm going to wrap this up, but the reason that we did all of this stuff up to this point is to now go ahead and up it to even more magic supports. So now we've got her with her squad. They're going to already hard counter a lot of stuff that's on here, but additionally we'll go ahead and we've got an archer and we've got this guy. So we're going to go ahead and switch you over as the leader. Sorry, the controls are looking a little weird to me at the moment for reasons. But due to hard counters and things, we'll go ahead and pop you out there. We can have our archer support actually go deploy in the other direction, since these guys will actually be pretty good dealing with those guys over there. While it does recommend using the housecarl here to go break through those barricades, honestly, it's not too much of a priority, so we're just going to go ahead and head over this direction. Due to that sword that we gave our dude earlier, we're going to have a ton of advantage in this situation. So not only do they have magic supports that you can bring along like a little happy turret here, you can additionally just add all of this other stuff on top. So we got magic assist, suddenly we're taking no damage, they're dead before the fight even starts. So we've got multiple assists that we can go in different directions. We can have some of our flyers stand by over here, and really you can just take this fight just slow and steady and carve through them one by one, take rests, allow your massive firepower squad to just kind of hop in and handle everything for you if you'd like. Like in this case, we're just going to throw in a ranged assist just to give them a little bit more experience. Again, just manage your experience as best you can here, or manage your stamina as best you can. If you need them to take a rest, oftentimes it's going to be faster to actually fly them back to the command post if you're in this early section, because there is some time for them to come back and attack. And the benefits that you get from the command post will allow for healing a little bit faster. Typically, now I don't know what the exact timing is, but I feel like in general these guys are typically faster at recovering when on that command post. So we go ahead and we deal with these guys as they come. You're probably safer just attacking from the right side. The left side does give you a whole other town to work with, but it doesn't really give you much of a launching point to go do anything extra. So if you want to skip that point, go for it. Nothing's really going to be too horrible if you do. We're not going to bother taking advantage of any follow-ups here just because of the fact that they're all infantry right now. They're going to waste some of their points on Vitalized. That's not going to be a problem for us. These guys are going to get hard countered pretty bad. What about you? How's your situation looking? Looks like we've already got some stamina back on our bird. We can launch them once again as soon as we need to, which will ideally be to take out that tower on the right side. So we'll go ahead and throw both these assists over here. Again, very stamina intensive, but the bird will take over once these guys are tired. But this does allow for a lot of experience for everybody involved. This does allow for a lot of flexibility because every one of these squads has cavalry, has heavies, has just direct fighters and things. So this does give us a lot more opportunities for different potential approaches as we need them. So like right here, we'll go ahead and throw in multiple assists to have the cavalry deal with these guys. If you find yourself in a position that you're really in trouble, you can go ahead and throw in some of your other units as well. We're going to start getting the bird out here to start calling in for fights as well. The feather that we got earlier would actually help out pretty decently here. So there we go, there's another unit down. Once these guys get tired, that's when we're going to start just letting them rest and let the birds kind of clean things up. But again, this obviously is just kind of how I prefer to handle it. The reason that we're kind of doing all this is, again, to have flexible support squads that can cover for the flyers, who then can fly in and then just deal with whatever the target is of the day, oftentimes skipping huge chunks of the map. So this allows for maps to be finished up in potentially under a minute in real-world time. So this is pretty generally useful, but just kind of keeps everything fairly flexible, as it were. So yeah, so these guys are going to go ahead and take one more encounter here, probably take a ranged assist. Should be able to get the job done, and also they'll be able to rest at the same time. So, let's see, those guys are down. Actually, we're gonna let them take one more attack, because they can just kind of swap in. There's just a few wounded squads right now. Birds can go in and tag in for some of it, but they'll just keep sending units out. Nothing too much to worry about yet. Oh, our ranged squad is a bit down at the moment. That would probably be a bit of an issue, huh? Well, they're gonna rest first. Once this little skirmish here is done, they're going to take a little bit of a nap. And yeah, we'll just have Joseph do his usual of just curb stomping stuff, but everyone's still getting experience in the meantime. Do we want to bother with this? I feel like these guys probably want to go deal with this witch squad instead. Yeah, just go do that. Just because they're a bit better suited to the job. Can we swap in? That'll do. That'll do pretty good. What's funny is that this is basically an evolution of the Legion mechanic from Ogre Battle 64. You can just kind of shift people around into different positions. It just feels very good. But as you saw earlier, these guys had a good angle on us before. This time around, we're not missing our attacks, and looks like we should be able to sweep them up with no real issue. However, that is 3 squads that are currently completely tapped. But again, they are all going to be working as one cohesive unit, so for now they're all going to be resting while the bird covers for them. So we go here, you go here, you go here, these guys take their nap, and then bird will go ahead and start working on this tower. So, well, they will work on the tower. First things first, they got to go deal with this guy. Yes, thank you, we got that. Yes, they're barricades. Hopefully we're not going to be touched by them. We should be able just to fly over these things. But we go ahead and kill off this one, and then we go kill off the tower. See, these guys are going to be fine just kind of sitting there. Ideally, we'll have this other squad all rested up and ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to waypoint that way, and then we're going to go take on this tower. We're also going to go ahead and use our empowering there in order to go and make sure that we get these guys in one swoop. So they're getting some range support off in the background there. We're just going to go ahead and put this wind charm up that we picked up from that last fight. This will then shield us from that ranged attack. We'll then also go ahead and go over to get our empowering here. Get this going in this direction, and just for the hell of it, I think we'll actually probably just take a smoke nut here so that we can go ahead and claim the tower afterwards. So I'll just go ahead and kill them off, do a little bit of healing. And then from there, they will now be able to completely hold that location. So this will allow these guys to go this way. And as you can see, they're still sending more squads up there. They're not going to send these guys. They're not going to fully commit just yet. But we will want to get more people going in that direction. So hopefully this helps to kind of explain the general mindset of speedrunning this whole thing. I hope you picked up some tricks and all that. I do have to get going, though. So y'all have yourselves a good one. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.